Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. Today we're going to be looking at, well, this is a fascinating topic, I think.
Yeah.
Exploring a really unconventional way to think about finding a life partner.
Okay.
It's called TAT. And we came across this through a YouTube interview with a guy named Eliezer Spetter.
Okay.
And also some accompanying material on his website.
Okay.
So we're going to do a little deep dive into this and try to figure out how this technique claims to work, what some of the benefits might be, but most importantly, how all of this stuff connects back to you.
Right.
And your own journey.
Yeah.
Whether you're actively seeking a partner or just curious about personal growth.
Yeah, and understanding like the deeper currents that might be influencing our relationships and our choices.
Exactly. Yeah, so let's start with one of the most kind of striking ideas that we came across in this interview.
Okay.
Spetter suggests that we often attract partners who reflect unresolved issues, or what he calls, quote, traumas from our relationships with our parents. So, to get a sense of his perspective, let's listen to a short clip from the interview he's speaking in Hebrew. So we'll translate for you.
Oh.
So what Spetter is saying in that clip is that people often end up marrying someone who embodies those same difficult characteristics that they struggled with in their parents.
Interesting.
It's like subconsciously seeking out the familiar, even if it wasn't healthy.
Yeah, that's a thought-provoking concept, and it actually connects with some established psychological theories.
Oh, really? So this isn't just something that Spetter's come up with on his own.
Right. So in psychology, the concept of familiarity is well documented. You know, humans tend to gravitate towards what's known, even if it's dysfunctional.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it's kind of like the saying, better the devil, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And, it makes me think about, those times when I haven't taken the best advice because it was something I was familiar with.
Yeah, for sure.
But Spetter actually takes this a step further. He suggests that even in arranged marriages, parents often choose partners for their children who resemble themselves. It's like, whoa, how deep do these patterns go?
Yeah, well, his observation aligns with this theory called repetition compulsion, which suggests that we have this subconscious drive to recreate past dynamics in an attempt to resolve them.
Okay.
So, choosing partners with similar traumas, quote unquote, could be seen as part of this drive, a way to try and heal old wounds.
So even if it's painful, there's like this underlying hope for resolution in there somewhere.
Precisely. And of course, it doesn't always play out that way,
right.
But, that underlying drive could be there.
Okay.
And it raises some interesting questions about why we are attracted to certain types of people, even if those relationships haven't been healthy in the past.
Yeah, it's like we're trying to work something out, but we don't even know what it is.
Exactly. And that's where the concept of attachment styles becomes really relevant.
Okay.
Because these styles, whether they're secure or anxious or avoidant, are often shaped by our early experiences with our caregivers.
Right.
And they can profoundly influence how we approach our adult relationships.
So, Spetter's talking about these, quote, traumas. He's not necessarily talking about like major, capital T trauma events.
Not necessarily, no. He uses the term more broadly to encompass any unresolved emotional baggage from childhood that's impacting adult relationships.
For sure.
So it could range from, a parent's constant criticism to feeling emotionally neglected,
right.
Anything that leaves an emotional imprint.
Okay, so it's more about the emotional patterns that get established.
Precisely. And those patterns can have a powerful influence on our choices sometimes without us even realizing it.
Okay, so we might be drawn to people who trigger familiar feelings, even if those feelings aren't necessarily positive.
Right.
Okay, so now I'm really curious, like, what do we actually do with this information? Is there a way to break free from these patterns?
Yeah, well, that's where this TAT technique comes in. And based on the website excerpts that we have, it involves touching specific points on the head while focusing on certain thoughts or affirmations.
Touching points on the head, that sounds a little out there to me. I don't know about you, but I'm intrigued, though. How does that work?
Yeah, it might seem unusual, but TAT draws from the principles of acupressure.
Okay.
A practice that's been used in traditional Chinese medicine for centuries.
Right.
And acupressure involves stimulating specific points on the body to influence energy flow and promote healing.
So there's like a method to it. It's not just, random points.
Exactly. Spetter outlines very specific points to touch, mainly around the eyes, forehead, and back of the head. And while you're touching these points, you're also focusing on positive affirmations or intentions related to the issue that you want to address.
So I'm starting to get the picture here, but how does simply touching your head and, thinking positive thoughts create a change?
Well, that's where the scientific explanation gets a little less clear-cut.
Okay.
Proponents of energy psychology believe that our thoughts and emotions are connected to our body's energy systems. And by combining physical touch with focused intention, the theory is that you can actually shift those energy patterns and release blocked emotions.
So you're sort of hitting a reset button on those negative thought patterns.
Yeah.
Using the mind-body connection.
That's a good way to put it.
Okay.
The goal is to disrupt those ingrained responses and replace them with more positive ones.
Okay. I mean, it's interesting because even if someone is skeptical about the energy aspect,
Yeah.
consciously focusing on positive affirmations,
Yeah.
That could be beneficial in itself.
Absolutely.
Like a form of self-guided cognitive reframing.
The power of positive self-talk is well established in psychology.
Yeah.
And by consistently affirming, positive beliefs about yourself and your relationships, you can actually start to shift your mindset
Right.
and even create new neural pathways.
Okay, that makes sense. But even if this TAT can help us address, those patterns that we were talking about, how does that actually translate into, finding a compatible partner?
Well, the idea is that releasing those negative emotional patterns from your past makes you more open to attracting a partner who reflects healthier aspects of yourself. So you're not subconsciously seeking out those familiar but potentially dysfunctional dynamics.
So it's about creating space for a more fulfilling relationship by letting go of that baggage.
Precisely, you become more aware of what you truly seek in a partner and align your energy with that intention.
I like that it's not about, like, quote, fixing yourself, but becoming more aligned with who you really are.
Exactly. And remember, even if you're not actively seeking a partner, this self-exploration can benefit personal growth and well-being.
That's a good point. Speaking of self-exploration, Spetter also mentioned that TAT can be used to address sexual issues.
Yes. He believes that many sexual difficulties stem from unresolved traumas or negative beliefs, often connected to early childhood experiences.
Can you give us an example?
Yeah, he mentioned people who witnessed a lot of conflict between their parents or experienced some form of abuse.
Right.
These types of events can create really deep-seated anxieties and inhibitions around intimacy.
Yeah, I can see how that could lead to, like, a subconscious fear or aversion to closeness.
Exactly. And Spetter believes that by addressing those root causes through TAT, people can experience greater freedom and enjoyment in their sexual lives.
This is starting to sound a little too good to be true. Can TAT really be a solution for everything from, relationship problems and sexual issues to stress and allergies?
Sure. While some people may experience significant benefits from TAT,
Self-help techniques can be valuable tools, but they shouldn't replace professional treatment when needed. It's about finding a balance and understanding the limitations of each approach.
I agree.
So if someone is intrigued by TAT and wants to give it a try, where do they begin? Can anyone just pick it up and do it?
Well, Spetter emphasizes that it's simple to learn, but he does offer workshops and training materials on his website.
Okay.
He stresses the importance of proper instruction for using the technique correctly and safely.
So it's best to seek guidance from someone experienced in the method. It's not a random DIY project.
Exactly. And even if you decide not to pursue TAT specifically, the insights that we've gained from exploring Spetter's ideas about unresolved emotional patterns can be incredibly valuable in themselves. It encourages us to be curious about our motivations and to approach relationships with a higher level of self-awareness.
I think that's such an important point. But about embracing that journey of self-discovery.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's about asking those tough questions. What patterns am I repeating? What wounds am I trying to heal? And how can I break free from those cycles to create healthier, more fulfilling relationships?
But we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive. From the idea that we might be drawn to partners who reflect unresolved issues from our past, to this intriguing technique called TAT that claims to help us break free from those patterns.
It's been a fascinating exploration of the often hidden influences that shape our relationships.
Absolutely. And now it's time for that final thought-provoking question we promised you, listener, the one we hope will spark some deeper reflection on your own experiences.
So, listener, here it is. If you could identify one key pattern from your past, particularly from your relationships with your parents, that might be impacting your current or future relationships, what would it be?
That's a powerful question. It really makes you pause and think.
And once you've identified that pattern, consider this. How could a greater awareness of this pattern help you make more conscious choices in your relationships?
It's all about taking that knowledge and using it to create positive change.
Exactly. Self-awareness is the first step toward breaking free from those unconscious cycles and creating the kinds of loving, fulfilling relationships you deserve.
Maybe this deep dive has piqued your interest in exploring TAT further, or perhaps it's simply ignited a curiosity to understand your own relationship patterns better.
Either way, we encourage you to keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep growing.
Because, as we've learned today, there's always more to discover both within ourselves and in the intricate world of human connection. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time.